Just gonna wait for the people. Hello. Thank you guys for joining. We're gonna be doing a Airbnb Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I think there's also a question box that I can try to use. I'm gonna be joined by a fellow Airbnb host who is goes by the name Badass Marketing Chick. She's also very successful in Airbnb. Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining. So we're just going to talk about Airbnb and my experience and what I like to share, teaching people how to get started. So if you have questions about how to start, maybe you've been thinking about it for a while, but you're not exactly sure what to do, or you have an Airbnb, but it's not going exactly the way you want, you can just ask us questions. So I see that she's in here and she's going to be jumping on right now. If I do it right. I think I added her request.
Yes.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Sweet.
Yay, I know how to work technology. Good for me.
I definitely, when it comes to this Instagram, it can be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Definitely my little camera. I'm gonna have to upgrade or something.
Oh, well, I always throw on a little filter, so let's, just make it a little nicer. So hi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. I am Queen Leo, Faintly Normal, Shell to Bell, Allie, yay, Yolanda, Free Fall, Vending. I'm just excited you guys are here. So we're going to chat about Airbnb, and I wanted to, well, first, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Absolutely. My name is Marcia. I actually go by Badass Marketing Chick on Instagram. I have over 21 units located here in the Atlanta area. I've been doing Airbnb since 2015, back in the Stone Ages.
Yes, girl, I'm right there with you. I started in 2014. I was like, this sounds cool. So how did you, thank you, first of all, thank you for joining me.
No, thank you.
Sharing all of your experience. 21 units is amazing. So how did you get started?
I started with my own personal house. Everybody, a little story I tell people that I actually started dominating on VRBO and HomeAway first. That was before, when I first got in, Airbnb wasn't the it factor. Airbnb just came the it factor right around 2017 or 18, going into 19, before it was actually VRBO HomeAway. And so I actually always stayed in a VRBO HomeAway. I never thought, and I had my property for lease in another city when I first moved to Atlanta. That never dawned on me to transfer my house into an Airbnb. So I went to I hated renting. Absolutely hated it. Didn't make enough money for me with the stress that it was causing. Maybe if I was able to scale, I would have kept it. So I went down. I was going to sell my house. And on my way to sell my house, I actually, of course, looked on VRBO, found a house that I was going to stay in while I was down there getting my house ready for the market, called a guy, and the guy was actually an older gentleman. And in the house that he had wasn't too far. It actually was 10 minutes from my house. And I'm like, who in the heck would want to stay there where I stayed? And I'm thinking, you're going down there to stay now. So I kind of asked him, how did he get into it? He let me know. That's why I said a lot of younger people kind of brung Airbnb to life, because it was his daughter who was in college who pitched to him VRBO and all these short-term rental companies, and he didn't want to hear it. It was kind of foreign to us as well as him. He ended up giving her one of his, he had 6 properties. He gave his daughter one located in the state of Miami, or city of Miami in Florida, for her graduation present. And when he gave it to her, then it was time to file the taxes, and they had to file the taxes together, him on his 6 properties plus the one that he gave his daughter. And he said, compared to what he brought to the table with the other five, she had brought in 33,000 just for that one property, and she didn't even have it for a full year.
Wow.
Less
Wow.
expenses, less headaches. She didn't have any evictions, all of that. So, long story short, with that, he didn't renew anyone's lease. He turned
Mm.
all of them and let her take over and turn all of them to short-term rental, and said he was doing really good. And that's how the one that I was going to stand that he had became a short-term rental. And basically he was just saying that he makes a ton of money. So thing clicked in my head. Instead of me selling this property, let me call the real estate agent I hire and just tell her I'm going to put this on the market. So I
Yeah.
went to a wholesale furniture company, threw in some furniture. It was a 4-bedroom, and the rest was history with that part of
That's
it. So
awesome.
that's how I got started in the industry.
That is awesome. You said something that was so interesting to me that so the CEO of Airbnb, Brian Chesky, he recently said in an article that he feels like the traditional landlord rental tenant model is kind of probably gonna like change, right? Because people are looking for more flexibility. So I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, short-term rentals, they're taking away the housing stock. But a lot of times I've had so many people, especially in the pandemic, who were using my Airbnbs for a place to stay while they figured things out, but they didn't want a 12-month lease because who the heck knows what's going on in the world. They,
Absolutely.
you know, were new to the city or they're just trying to figure it out. And for you, that was a situation that you were kind of looking at. You were looking at, you know, I want to stay in my area. I'm about to sell this house. You know, you turned it into lemonade, but there are
Yeah.
some people who, you know, that's not on their mind. They're just trying to figure out their next move. So short-term rentals is a great option for that demographic as well. um so yeah, that's awesome. So how did you transition from um you know, that one space to 21?
Right. Absolutely. So back then, I kind of had the same issue with renting. It's very hard to scale when you have to buy homes because no one, if you're trying to buy homes traditional way, they still want to see what type of income you have, and they're always going to go by income to debt ratio when you're buying a house. So you still have to make this amount of money, and how many homes do you have in your name? So I'm still like, there has to be a different way. Like, how could I scale without purchasing? So I actually kind of did a little research, find my coach who that I have, kind of watched him for a while to see if that one's it. Because that's the biggest thing I tell a person. If you're watching somebody and you want to get into Airbnb, make sure they fit not only the business model that you want to uphold in your company, but they fit with you. Because I actually watched a couple people, and it just wasn't, someone who I was looking to be with.
Right,
Not that they were doing their model was still correctly,
right, they
but
just didn't align with your.
it didn't align with what I was doing. So when I kindly found the guy who that he did align with, followed him for a little while, and then started investing in coaching calls and different coaching and watching different videos that he already had out. And I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Mhm.
I never even thought there was a business model where that you could re-rent a location and just do it up on your company's name. And I'm like, this kind of has to be impossible. I don't think this is going to work. That was my thought. I'm like, okay, I'm watching it. I see the business model. I see other people doing it, but there's a catch 22 to this. Like, this is really not. They just probably really want you to invest, get more information, and this is going to be super hard. Really, I'm going to need all of this paperwork. But you know what? As a gamble, I'm going to take. Ended up doing it, and it was not anything that I was thinking of. It was actually very simple. I already had everything that I needed. Literally, I did my first coaching call. I tell people this. My first coaching call I had with him was at 11 o'clock. I had it at 11 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, I hung up with him within about 15 to 20 minutes. Said, okay, well, I'm going to try and see if it's as simple as he's basically making it seem. By 3 o'clock, I called my first apartment and had my first unit, the first call.
Yes, I love that. One of my mentors is always talking about like take action at the speed of learning it. So like you learn something, take action immediately. And that is exactly what you did. So you actually answered somebody's question. Faintly Normal asked, is it well, first she asked, is it better to buy a property or rent a place for Airbnb? So you kind of answered that. What are your thoughts on it, though, in general?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person. I have a couple friends actually. India Monet is one of the ones I did show with her yesterday. She owns all her properties, and so she loves it. She invests in real estate. You know, you're able to grow a different type of wealth with actually owning that, owning the land, the sort. You just have to know what your niche is and what you want to take. I don't want to be responsible for any maintenance. I don't really be responsible for anything. I don't want to have to come up with $5,000 down payment. I really don't want anything that we own in my company name or anything like this, and having to invest it. And then when I don't want it, I have to turn around and sell it. Have to see if when I'm selling it, it's because that was one of the things when I went down there to sell my property, because to get back in it, to invest into rental arbitrage, I did have to sell my house in St. Louis to get more capital to now do arbitrage. But I can't say when I was selling it, the market had went down. So now I got something from out of it, but not really, anything from out of that specific house on what it was worth. I wasn't able to sell it of what I bought it for. You see what I'm saying? Which doesn't make sense. If I'm buying a house, it should be definitely in the market in these times. Mm-hmm. So that's just to say, I just don't want to be involved. When you're doing arbitrage, it's kind of like you have a separate team that you can call on when need be, because if the pipes or something go out in the middle of the night, I don't want to have to worry about that. All I have to do is pick up and call in a maintenance order, and someone will be out there right away. And that has happened plenty of times. That's happening right now in one of our units. Right now, the toilet is stopped up. We called in and put a maintenance order. And I typically still rental arbitrage homes as well.
So I just want to take a quick second because I know we may have some people who are kind of new, and you've mentioned rental arbitrage. So I refer to it sometimes like master leasing, but give everyone a little bit of a little quick explanation of what rental arbitrage is and how you do it.
Absolutely. Rental arbitrage is just re-renting something that someone else owns or manage. So you're basically taking something that they have and re-renting it to someone else and profiting off of that, and just paying that person the fee of what they were charging. Mm-hmm. So, but it still allows you not to have any of the liability part.
Right. Absolutely. And I like what you said earlier. It depends on the person in terms of whether you should buy or rent for Airbnb. So it depends on, your preferences, like you were saying, in terms of what you're responsible for and what you're not responsible for. Also depends on your finances and where you are in terms of capital. Yeah. Whether you want to go out and put down however much percentage you need to go out and buy a property. And then I always say, I love real estate. I think it's a great way to build wealth. But if you're going to be buying, I say have multiple exit strategies. So don't be buying just with Airbnb in mind, right? No, make sure that when you're buying that property, you can use it multiple ways. So like you can use it for Airbnb, but if things, change, you're able to rent it traditionally. Like make sure the numbers work, right? And then you can scale faster using rental arbitrage or master leasing, right? So it also depends on what your goals are. Are you just looking to get 1 or 2 Airbnbs and kind of have that as your side hustle? Or are you trying to make this your empire and you want to have 21 bomb Airbnbs like the badass marketing chick over here, right? So you have to keep all of that in mind. So how has your experience been? Actually, let me see some of these questions. Someone asked, is it better to, Faintly Normal coming in with the bomb questions, is it better to buy furniture or rent furniture?
You can do either or. It's totally up to your budget. So you can do either or. I say if you want, and when you're saying rent, you necessarily don't even have to rent anymore, because there's a lot of companies out here that does you're able to get the furniture and pay later. So probably about 80% of any company, including the big companies now, American Signature, where they give you 90 days same as cash. So you can go in there and get up to $3,000, and all you have to do is have a bank account with them. Like, you don't have to do a credit check or any of that, and you're able to pay them off in 90 days. So that allows you to be able to make a profit and actually pay them. But you can rent as well. It's totally up to you.
Yeah. It like you said, it all definitely depends on your budget and where things stand in that regard. So let me see. How do you approach doing, okay, someone at Lawrence Battle asks, how do you approach doing a renovation on a house for an Airbnb? I want to start with a property house I have in the downtown Atlanta area.
How does, okay, repeat that question one more
They
time.
want to know, how would you approach doing a renovation for a house? I don't know if that's something that you've done before or
Oh, yeah,
experienced.
I just renovated a house. So the first thing I went in there, first you want to get the idea. You want to kind of go to like an Instagram where you can go in and put like interior designs, or you can go to Pinterest. You want to get what, because the one that I just renovated, I did like a farm to table look. That's not my typical style, but I based it on that unit trending and going towards different families. Most of my other units go towards younger people, corporate. This, since it was a house in the area and the yard was big, it went towards family. So I always go to Pinterest and pull different pictures and inspirations that you're going to use. Once you have those inspirations, you want to start kind of picking different things out and putting them on like maybe like a little board, like clipping, trying to see if you put them together, and then you're starting with the furniture. You want to start with the furniture because then you can go in and put what you want the walls to look like, what you want the, different pictures to look like. Once you kind of have that, that's when you're able to kind of bring in your contractor and get different quotes on what you're going to need them to do based on the board you already put together. So I actually took the contractor in. I figured out what paint colors, because I already know what the paint colors is going to be, because I know what the sofa's going to be. I knew that we wanted to change out all the light fixtures to match the design that I had, so we had him to change out all the design light fixtures. For us, the outside, we knew what the colors were on the inside and what the door is going to be, and we were able to do that. So you want to kind of like approach it that way, and then get two different quotes from two different contractors. I always say, no matter what contractor, I always hire anyone who's doing my plumbing. I've learned my lesson. They're completely separate from the actual contractor. My plumber is the plumber. Electrician, if it's any major, if they're changing a ceiling fan, then that's fine. If it's major electric, get a completely separate person, then, because that person will, then it'll slow you down, because now they have too much work to try to keep up with.
Right. Oh, that's good. That's really good. I hope that answers your question, Lawrence, and I'll answer your second question, and then I'll let her answer about how to connect later on. So someone else is asking, Business First Ben, I like that name, asks how much overhead to anticipate with each unit you have.
And it's two different fees. You have the fee if you're just looking for furniture only. I like to start off with a 2-bedroom myself. I don't have too many 1-bedrooms. 2-bedrooms actually bring in more money. So we typically, with furniture, stay up under 3,000, about 2 to 3,000. You can get away with less than that. My units are more luxury furnishings, which is why I have to go up to 3,000. If you're not looking to, and that's not going to be your niche, like different luxury beds or sofas, then you probably can keep it up under 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000. The reason you hear 6,000. The reason you hear a lot of people saying that it takes about $5,000 to $6,000 is because they're including the first month rent, and they're including a deposit and any additional fees as well, because there is going to be additional fees for us, a moving company to help you move different things in. A lot of the companies, if they're delivering, they may charge you a delivery fee and a fee for someone to help you set it up.
Yeah. Awesome. Moti Love asks, when starting out as a new company, what is required for the corporate lease without a PG? I'm not sure I understand your question, so if you just want to clarify that a little bit, that will help. I wanted to ask, I actually wanted to ask, so how was your experience? You know, last year we all experienced COVID. How did
Yeah.
that go in your business?
Okay, for the first, I say 15 to 30 days. Actually, the first 5 days, I was like, oh my God, what we're finna going to do? Because we lost $15,000 in a matter of 10 minutes. It was just like click, click, cancel, cancel, cancel,
Cancel,
trickle
cancel,
down effect.
cancel.
And we didn't know what the hell was going on. We're
Yeah, I'd
in the
say it was a
little,
bloodbath.
my whole team, we all have the Airbnb app to make sure someone's always available. So we were actually in a new Airbnb setting up. So you have to know when one person's phone goes off, because we all have set a certain alert to know that each of our phone is Airbnb. Everybody, and it's about 6 of us, everybody's phone is like ding, ding, ding. So everybody's looking. We're all trying to figure out. Now we're all scrambling like, okay, let's Google, let's go to the groups. What, because how are all these people canceling and it's zero balances? So we're on the phone with Airbnb. So, you know, it kind of felt like when we found out what was going on, it's like, hold on, they're going to close the city down. If they're closing the city down, how are we going to survive as a company? So we just had to brainstorm. That's a great thing when you have a team and you have a team that everyone can sit down and kind of brainstorm to see what's going on. To be honest, my team was trying. We couldn't figure out what to do. I always tell people I came home and I actually was watching The Lion King.
Sometimes you got to unplug and come back.
And it just sent me into like, I should know what to do in a state of this. This is like stuff that you have to plan for in your head. And we switched all of I'm like, okay, ding, I already know if this unit is this. If I was able to divide what the bills is and make a little bit more money and rent to long-term renters and figure that out in a couple days, I could get my money back. And that's exactly what we did. We took all of our Airbnb units that we had at that time and we flipped them into long-term temporary rentals.
Yes, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, my
So
team
yeah.
had to do the same. Basically, like I said, it was a bloodbath. That first week, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But we just sat down, and what we did is we focused a lot more on travel nurses because, I mean, they were in high demand anyway. So, and I had hosted travel nurses in the past. I love travel nurses. For those that don't know, these are nurses and even other medical professionals who travel the country. They'll get short-term assignments at a hospital for like 3 months, 6 months, maybe even just a month at a time. And because it's short, they need a place to stay. They typically want it to be close to the hospital. They want it to be in good condition. So I was like, well, that worked for me before, and they are the people right now who need places. So we transitioned to that with a good number of our units, and that was very helpful. And then, like I said, I just ended up having people kind of like yourself, these longer temporary stays, people who just needed a place. I had people who were like, I don't want to stay in my old place. If we're going to be locked down for months at a time, it's not cute. I want somewhere,
Absolutely.
you know? So that's been good. I do want to ask this quick question. A couple of people asked, what's the name of the 90-day furniture place that you mentioned? I think you said.
No, it's not the 90-day is not a furniture place. It's actually I don't want to say like a credit company, but that's if you go to American Signature Furniture, if you go to all of these big furniture companies, they have, you know how they have little signs in there saying, do you need help with your furniture? It's one of those. So you can go into any major furniture company and look around. They will have 2 and 3 companies that you can go through. You don't have to just go through them and get credit. You can go through, I would just go through this because the ones that they have, they're going to run your credit. These are simply just checking your bank account, making sure your account is active, giving you typically the credits between $1,500 and $3,000, depending on how they read your account to see how much money goes into your account at all time. Now they will, if you have a ton of overdrafts when they do it, like if you've had overdrafts a lot, you probably won't get approved because they're basing it off of your bank account.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know a couple people had asked that. So, let me see. Oh yeah. So your experience after COVID, how has it been like this last year, 2021? We're officially 6 months in, which still blows my mind. How has it been now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic?
Absolutely, it's been great. We've actually doubled our numbers from the year before. So pandemic, we're better at pre-pandemic than we were before. So that's adding on additional units and just our numbers, period. I have one because we do property management too. And we just broke a record with one of my clients' units. She did $5,000 this month on one unit. So, you know,
Awesome.
yeah, so just breaking records with these units.
Sweet. So that's actually a question a couple people have asked, like how can they connect with you? And you mentioned just now that you've got property management, which is something I'm always interested in, because I'm like you and I'm like, who else could do this for me? I like to sit
Yeah.
back and collect the checks. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we actually have a property management. That's why my phone is going off now. So we have a complete team. We have a quality control person. We have our operations person, and we have our customer experience manager as well. And then, yeah, we kind of just work as a team on responding to everything that's going on with the Airbnb guests, listing it on all the platforms, making sure it's being found in the units, keeping it updated, making sure anything that's going on in any of the units that we go ahead and take care of it. The great thing is if you do corporate rentals, all you have to do is give us your information, even if it's a maintenance order or anything. Since it is a corporate rental, we're able to call. We don't have to call you all the time to respond because it's a corporate rental. So when it's considered corporate, your team or anybody who you hire can actually take over that portfolio, and that's what we do. So we put in all the maintenance orders for each property as well. We restock it. Basically, just like you said, our person only collects a check. So they don't have the time when we send them fees. They're getting pictures of fees once a month and they're seeing everything that way. But besides then, we don't bother them. They don't bother us. So we have no idea downside to that. I always try to tell people the good with the bad. If one month it is slow, typically we know what the slow seasons are looking like. You have to remember that you do have a property management company. So if it's slow, there's a chance that you may have to come out of your pocket because you still have to pay your own bills. You still have to pay your own fees. There's internet and all of that. So it can be a case of we haven't really had that too much in the slow season, but that's a consideration that you always have to consider that, and that's in any business. In any business, you may not be making money in your business. Times I didn't make money in my restaurant, but I still had to pay the rent.
Yeah,
I still have to
absolutely.
pay all my employees.
Yeah. So are you only local for property management in the Atlanta area, or is that do you expand to other areas?
We expanded to other areas. So now we're also in Houston and St. Louis.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So I think that answers Lisa Finn 2020. I think you had asked that. And she asked, do you have experience with getting Airbnb units that are in different states than where you're located? So like I said, I'm in Nevada right now. I just moved here recently. But my units are actually in the DC metro area and Ghana. My family's from Ghana, so we have an Airbnb there. And it just comes down to like having a team like Marcia does, like just having that all set up so that you have people who know exactly what to do, you know who to reach out to when there's any sort of maintenance needs. You have your guest communication set up properly, like you have your systems in place, so that's how you're able to do that. Let's see.
Absolutely. And mostly all my clients, probably about 60% are all in other states. So yes, I do have that experience. They're all in different locations.
Yeah. Moti Love, can you explain what PG is? I might just be a little slow, but she's asked this question a couple times, and I'm not sure what PG is. So just type that
Let me
out.
try to see if I can find the question and actually take a look at it.
Okay. Is hosting traveling nurses different than regular customers? How do you find business with them? Yeah. So I actually have a quick guide that you can check, but you just want to go to where the travel nurses go, really. You want to go to like any Facebook groups that they try to find, because there are groups out there where they're just talking about housing, like, you know, hey, I'm going to this city, does anyone have a house? Hey, I'm going here, does anyone have a house? Or they'll even say like, hey, I stayed at this place, it was really good. If you are going to be in this city, this is a great place. So they're always communicating with each other about just the travel nursing game. So that's a great way to look into them. And then I've just had them book on Airbnb, like they just find it. So for me, because for some of my units, I was specifically targeting travel nurses. So I even have language in my listing that would say this is travel nurse friendly, or how close I am to the hospital, etc. So that's a great way to find them, and you can always DM me for more information about that. Let's see. What sites can you, okay, here's a good one, I think. What sites can you list your property on that will allow you to sync your calendars together other than VRBO? So I guess like what other sites, we
A
all love
great site
Airbnb. Yeah.
is called Your Porter, YOURPORTER. Let me see if I can type it. Oh yeah, because I just typed it yesterday. That's a great site right there. You're able to link and connect all of the different sites. It's one of the number one sites that we use in our company. It's kind of one of I call two different sites the brain of our company, because if those go down, stuff will get hectic, and that's one of the brains. So it keeps track of not only all three major platforms that we list on besides two. It also is able to keep up with off booking. It also keeps up with our off platform bookings as well. So we're able to use both of them, and they charge you by per unit. I think it's like $7 per each listing that you have listed on there, and it also keeps track of your cleaner, so it's definitely great.
Oh, God, that's perfect. Okay. Yes, I was on the slow bus. She meant personal guarantee. So when doing corporate leases, do you ever find that sometimes they require a personal guarantee?
They do. I don't typically go towards that. I'm not personally guaranteeing anything when it comes to business. You have to realize too, that's what an LLC for. So when you get an LLC is made to protect you. It's made for if something comes up, they cannot come after your house, your car, your bank account, anything that you own. When you decide that you're going to become a personal guarantee on anything, even if it's not Airbnb, you are solely responsible. So if they know that your business is not making that much, and they probably won't come after your business if you are a personal guarantee, they will come after everything you own. That means if a person falls in one of your units or anything like that, an apartment complex feel that you are responsible, they'll sue you personally.
Yeah, so it's something to keep in mind. Her question was saying, like, if you're new, you know, do they sometimes require the personal guarantee? And they sometimes do. So that's just something that's kind of like, if, like, maybe if you're not comfortable with that, you might look for another complex that doesn't require that. But if your LLC is new, you may come across that. So that's something to consider.
Absolutely. And it's just up to you. Like I said, I have coaching clients who they're comfortable with it. So,
Mhm.
it just have to be, if you're comfortable with knowing that you're going to be like on your unit all the time, and you're not, nervous, or it's your first unit, so you want to try it, definitely. It's totally up to the person.
I'll say I've done it before, and I was just comfortable with it at the time. I just really wanted to be in this particular location, and I just made sure that I, was on my P's and Q's, and I also had my insurance in place. So that is another layer of coverage there.
That's definitely another layer, making sure you get
Yes.
insurance to
Yes.
make sure that you're covered.
Awesome. Okay. Someone's like, what are y'all doing? We're talking, we're chatting, we're having an Airbnb Q&A. Let me see if I have any other questions in the chat. I found all of them, but I'm going to go through. Okay, someone asked, what is arbitrage? We answered that. How many properties how many of your properties are actual apartments, and how many are homes? Do you have a mix?
I only have one home. All the rest are all apartments.
Okay, yeah. So I have had a mix. Most of them are apartments, but I often co-host. So I have co-hosted some larger homes that were like really nice luxury style. And those do really, really well, really well. So let me see if there's another question. How to start from scratch, deciding you want to get into business. What are your next steps to take? Well, that's a very broad question. First, you have to decide, is this the kind of business or side hustle that you want to do? You have to, I would say, do more, come to more Q&As like this one, find other people who are doing Airbnb and just kind of study what they do and see if it's something that you think would be a good fit for yourself. And if you do, then you really have to invest the time in learning from those people. I always say, you know, investing in mentors or people who have done what you want to do is going to give you the shortcut to the outcome that you want, right? Instead of trying to like do it all by yourself. I mean, that's a way of doing it, but you're just going to have more challenges up front, which that's, like I said, that's a way of doing it, but you can follow a mentor, follow someone who aligns with you, like you were saying earlier, right? Because there are many people in this space. You just want to make sure you find someone who is doing what you want to do, is doing it the way you want to do it, and you just kind of learn from them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think she mentioned the names of the systems that she used. She mentioned Your Porter, and then she's on Airbnb and VRBO. Any other systems that you want to share?
Oh yeah, well we're on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, and we are on Expedia.
Awesome.
And
Yeah, that's a
just to name a few, and Hotels.com should be coming this year from what I hear, and we'll probably be on there too.
nice. So how can people find you? How can they learn more about you and get connected?
Absolutely. The best way to actually find me is at my IG. If you click, I think if you stroke, click the up one, it's at Badass Marketing Chick. I kind of randomly post a lot. I'm not a big poster because I'm working. So, and online all day, but I do take, if any of my clients or people follow me, they inbox me small questions all the time. So you're able to definitely always inbox me some simple questions I'm able to answer. And if they need like a one-on-one call, then just click that link in my bio and it says schedule one-on-one and just schedule one-on-one. You're able to pick your own times.
Awesome. Yes. So go ahead and follow her, Badass Marketing Chick. I've been following her for a minute. I was like, all right, we definitely need to connect because I
No,
love
I've
seeing
been following you for a minute, girl. You are you killed it. Don't downplay it now.
you know,
I'm
I love
so
connecting with
proud.
women in this space. So yes, that's awesome. And of course, you can always find me at nanaalicenyarko here on Instagram. I've got some free guides and free classes, free Airbnb classes you can check out as well.
Nice.
And you can always hit me in the DMs. I'm here for you. So um, this has been awesome. If you guys have questions, feel free to DM either one of us. And I'm grateful that you all joined us. So I'm gonna try to do more of these one-on-ones, and I'd love to connect with you again in the future for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. And you guys have a lovely Friday. It's hot out here in Atlanta. So I'm gonna get out of here. But
Yes.
thank you so much for inviting me on here. I love it. I really appreciate it. Anytime you need to, just hit me up and we can do this again. I think this is great for the culture and getting them into, getting Airbnbs, because this is about to be the next big thing and people are just sitting here. And if I can say this one last thing, is stop thinking about it. Just do it. Like, stop thinking about it. Like, right now I'm pacing back and forth because I'm working on Toro. I just purchased something to learn Toro yesterday, and it's today. I'm not waiting. I didn't try to do a whole bunch of things. Like, it's go time. I don't have time to try to think if this is good, this is bad, this is,
Yeah.
it's like, let's just go see what it is, make sure I'm getting the right coaching, go through my mentorship program that I'm about to go to, and I pretty much set a goal. This month I'll have all my vehicles.
Awesome. I love it. See, this is a woman after my own heart. She's getting to the money. Yes. So I will let you go so you can go stack that paper. And thank you
Absolutely.
guys. I'll see you all next time.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Oh, I don't even know.